Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Rider Ramblings. It's a wet Tuesday, not very nice, and the news in France is pretty atrocious as well. So let's start with some good news. Yes, let's start with some good news. And that is, I think I told you about 6 or 7 months ago, maybe even longer, that I was going on a diet. So I'm going to report the good news of the diet. I've lost so far about 14 kilos, there or thereabouts, which is about 30 pounds approximately, since March, I think it was. Yep, since March. So that's been a combination of diet, and the diet is actually a good one because you're not hungry, which is one of the main problems with diets, and exercise, but unfortunately France, just like the rest of Europe, was confined in March and April and part of May. So exercise was curtailed to just running. So I went jogging in the mornings, and then we were able to go swimming again. So I was able to go running and swimming, which was very good. Afterwards, right, well, where are we? About 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, they closed the swimming pools, so now we can only go running in the morning. And of course we're getting into the dark mornings and things like that, and cold and wet, so I'm not actually running as much as I should do. So I have to change that, but I got too used to going swimming about 3 times a week. Anyhow, as I say, the news is I've lost... Ooh. Don't know what happened there. I need to adjust the throttle. There's a bit of play in the throttle, I think. I've noticed this a couple of times. Anyhow, so with the swimming and the running, you could have gone there, madam. You could. I've lost 14 kilos. The goal actually was about 20 kilos, but due to confinement and things like that, I've not been able to achieve that. So I'm still on the diet. I'm giving myself another 6 weeks to see if I can lose a bit more. But it makes riding the motorcycle a lot better, actually. It's much better. Anyhow, that's the good news. I've lost about 30 pounds in weight. 14 kilos, thereabouts, just a bit over 14 kilos. Right, the bad news, of course, is what's on the news. We're under curfew now. And so everybody has to be back in by 9 o'clock at night, and you between 9 and 6 you're confined to quarters, and all indoor sporting venues have been closed. A bit like other places, I think it's a maximum of 6 people can be gathered in any one place. And if you are a family of more than 6, you have to decide who's not going to gather. Though I don't know what happens in the houses with that one. I don't. So I assume you're allowed to gather in your house if you're more than 6 people. But the interesting part of this was that on Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday, Mr. Macron was supposed to give a televised speech, and it was changed Monday night, Tuesday morning or something, to an interview. And one of the reporters, and I think it was BFM TV, but I'm not certain which news channel it was, actually reported that the reason for the change was that Mr. Macron was persuaded not to reconfine France. He was going to reconfine everybody in France, and the mayors of the various communes and the Minister of Interior and so on persuaded him not to do that, and then instead to institute the curfew again, or the curfew. So it sounds like if we're on borrowed time, in that this is a nice mess, isn't it? Très intelligent, très intelligent. That's very clever in French. And the scooter rider blocking everybody. So, anyhow. So it looks like we're on borrowed time. And that probably after the school holidays, and the schools go back on Monday the 2nd, I think it is. Maybe Tuesday the 3rd, but on Monday the 2nd, it looks like if the numbers haven't reduced suitably, we will be confined again. But I don't think it will be a confinement like we had in a furlough and a confinement, a quarantine like we had in March and April, because France needs all the money it can get. So I think they'll alter it slightly, and we'll see people being allowed to go to work. But I think we're going to see a curfew earlier than 9 o'clock. Restaurants closed and so on at 6 o'clock in the evening, I think. And only essential shopping. And this is to try and save Christmas, I think. So, because at the moment we're getting infection rates of about 30,000 new cases per day in France, which is scaring the pants off the government at the moment. The number of deaths is remaining quite low, but they're worried that these new infections will start making the death rate climb. So that's that. I think we might be seeing a much stricter confinement coming up in about 2 weeks' time, I think. And of course the other piece of bad news, which you may have heard about, was the terrorist attack in Yvelines, which is a county, a department they call it in French, but a county southwest of Paris. south, yeah. So, and where a school teacher was beheaded, because in France they believe in freedom of speech, and they actually teach freedom of speech at school, and it seems that this teacher was teaching about things which upset some of the Muslim community, and it's caused a major backlash, actually, the beheading, not what the teacher was teaching. And even the Muslim community has come out very vociferously against this. Because I think if freedom of speech is removed from France, then you won't be able to teach things like the Bible or the Quran or things like that, because parts of the... Oops, we have a traffic jam down there. I'm not going that way, so it's okay. And I think they'll find that they're unable to teach religious texts. So that's might be a problem. They're closing the mosque where this Muslim person was either the imam of or whatever, or taught at or prayed at or whatever, so that's been closed. But it's a bit like closing the stable door after the horse has bolted. And I think they need to rethink what they're doing about this, because France seems to be attacked more than any other country. So I think it needs to be a case of they have to possibly terrorize the terrorists.